Hello, my name's Kevin, and I'm here to lead you through the steps of making a Slovenian Potica. A recipe given to me by my grandmother, to my mother and from my grandmother. Apparently very different from other Slovenian Potica, the best food you'll ever put in your mouth. Ain't that right? Okay, step one, here we go. So the first thing I like to do is to grind the walnuts into a paste. I've got a machine here patented in 1898. Got available at an auction sale for about $5 or $2 or something. And it's the same type, exactly the same grinder almost, that I used when I was a kid on my mother's basement stairs. I attach it to that and grind them up. And basically I'm getting a nice, really fine, it's not walnut butter, but it's really fine. It's not chopped walnuts, it's ground walnuts. Anyway. Step one. All right, so now we are getting ready to do the dough. This is, I used to be a hippie, and maybe I still am a hippie, and I was always substituting whole wheat flour for white flour and stuff like that, or honey for sugar. I don't mess with that kind of stuff. This recipe was not made by hippies. This was made by Slovenes back in the old country, or in the new country of Cleveland, Ohio. So we're using white flour, and it's darn good. So I sifted the flour. This is the only thing I sift all year long. It makes it special. So I've got the 3 1/4 cup sifted flour and salt here. In the meantime, I've been melting butter on the wood stove, and it's melted. There's butter in many parts of this recipe. If you're trying to not get many calories, go somewhere else. This has 11,500 calories when all completed, and plenty of cholesterol, and that's what made me strong. And my mother's been eating it every year she's 90 now, 89. Been eating it every year since she was probably 2, and she's healthy as a horse. So now in this, where did it go? Oh, I put it over here on the stove because it was a little cold. I've got the water and sugar mixture, and then I've already added the yeast, and I'm waiting for it to foam. Hopefully this active dry yeast is active. It wasn't past date, but it hasn't done. I wait for it to foam a little bit anyway, just to show some signs of life. And then I'm going to put it all together, and with a couple of egg yolks. So Mabel, in the meantime, also, while this is going on, I've got the nut mixture in a homemade double boiler here. Just put a little water in this first pan. And because we're trying to keep it warm but not really cook it. So that's the nuts, that's vanilla, that's the cream, heavy whipping cream, that's all the fruit rind, the lemons and oranges, and whatever else the recipe says. And the recipe says a small jar of honey. This is the smallest jar of honey I've ever used. They're usually a pound. This one was 12 ounces. But I always thought it was maybe a little too sweet. So this year we're going with 12 ounces. I think it'll be just fine. Goes in here and just sits there for the next hour or 2 on over warm water. Getting yummy. All right.
Well, right, I believe you, but I'm just saying.
All right, so the dough's been beating for 15 minutes anyway in this thing. Maybe 20. Got a phone call. Then I looked at it and I thought, okay, it's a little bit wet. But, because look at it, it doesn't look like bread dough. But, you touch it with your finger doesn't stick. It's coming away from the sides of the bowl. So, I'm not going to add any more flour because you sure don't want to have it too stiff. So, I'm going to say that's good enough and throw a wet towel over it and let it double in bulk. I think it's already, it's probably already got half again as big in bulk because we got a car stuck in the driveway. But, we'll be back when this gets bigger. Alright, so the goal of this is to roll this dough, which is a little sticky yet. It's, maybe it's going to need a little flour. That's not a big deal. But, there we go.
Are you posting this on YouTube?
And we want to roll it out to be 26 by 20 inches wide. That's the matching numbers. I've got a 9 by 13 pan here, heavily greased. Ooh, that's greasy. But you sure don't want this puppy to stick. So I'll be back in a minute. So I'm going to knead the dough a little bit just because it looks like it needs a little more flour. Plus, I need to get it all in a big lump again. And I got my handy dandy flour spritzer there. Oh, this dough just feels, this is nice dough. Just like pizza dough, basically. I'm going to try to roll it out. And sometimes it just keeps stretching back in. This, we'll see if that's one of these times. If it really fights me, then I usually just let it rest for a while. Alright, well this one, there it is. 26 by 20, more or less. Not as pretty as it could be. But it's as pretty as we could make it. Now I'm going to add the glaze. Just a little bit here. This will help make it yummy and seal it in. Now the nut mixture, which is not referring to my family, but just this stuff we're putting on here. And we'll spread that out. Alright, there it is with the nut mixture spread on.
Yeah, we're supposed to be.
It's a thick and rich and beautiful. Here comes the graham crackers and butter mixture, which I just did in an iron skillet to melt the butter and didn't cook them or anything. Just melt the butter with the graham crackers. Spread those around. I've taken the white raisins and I poured hot water over them, just a cup or half cup or whatever. Let it sit there for a while. Then I drained it off, maybe sit there for 10 minutes. So now I've got these warm, plump white raisins. This makes the dough rise nicely too. Everything's warm, all the stuff's warm. And this dough is going to rise once I roll it up, which is the crux move, which we'll be seeing soon. Okay, now we're rolling it up. We've actually been rolling it for about 10 minutes, two of us, trying to get it to come off the counter, and it's really tender dough, so it's kind of slow. But we're almost there, and then the real crux move is getting it off the table into the pan. All right. And I'm putting the rest of the glaze on the outside to give it a real pretty dark brown color when it's cooked. Now we'll let it rise for a while, half an hour maybe, 45 minutes, and pop it in the oven. Thank you, and thank you very kindly.